John Razimus here, using my cheap night vision camera, dirt cheap. This camera is so cheap that it's only black and white. It costs 60 bucks, and as you can see, it's kind of grainy. It has its own grain. That's no special effect or filter or mod. That is as is. It's the only second night vision camera I could afford, so I used it on my ghost investigation. I just got back from at the Grist Mill, 1830s haunted building. Just drove 600 plus miles to get there. Drove 600 plus miles to come back. It's 1,200 plus miles. It's a long way. It's a long distance, long drive. And to the disbelievers, nothing's ever good enough. If you want to become a ghost investigator, you have to have a night vision camera and you got to film. If you just walk around and feel the vibes of locations, who knows? You might see an apparition on some extremely rare encounter. If you didn't film it, Pixar, it didn't happen. When it comes to ghost investigating, it's not even to prove. It's for science, and no one's going to believe you. I filmed with this very camera a spirit in the window a couple nights ago during the supermoon at the 1830s Grist Mill. Set off the static meter in the middle of two other devices. I had the REM pod on the left. I had the EDI multi-purpose on the right. Has a geophone, has a temperature gauge. It has EMF meter on there. And in the middle I had the 8 LED static detection meter that this particular spirit enjoys using over and over. I've only used the device on investigations 3 times at a window at an 1830s grist mill, and it set it off all 3 times. So I drove 600 plus miles, 1,200 miles just for the one device to be set off. If I didn't film it, no one would believe it. I'm gonna have to spend a couple months of my time, and this is after planning other things, to buy a couple $100 ghost detection, night vision cameras that are way better than this one. The only reason I'm using this one now, just to show you this is what it is. I got to use it sometime. I paid money for it. And I'm going to be phasing this one out when I get the 2 new ones. The 2 new ones are $100 a piece. They have IR lenses, and I'm holding a flashlight. It's an IR light. It's invisible to the human eye. I can't see this. This in my eyeballs, I can't see it. It's 100% invisible to me, which is why you're going to not see my eyeballs flinch. It's just how IR technology works. But this was dirt cheap. This is like a $5 flashlight. So I need to buy I'm going to buy a good 3 more of these, because when I brought out my big IR flashlight, the battery was dying, and this one was still going good. And this is the same battery I used on the investigation. As you can see, it still works great. So sometimes a huge flashlight that the battery drains immediately is not always the good thing. Sometimes you need just a tiny one. I wish I had an array of these just pointed at me so you can see me, because I didn't. You can barely see me, but you can still see me. I have to brighten up the picture to really see the silhouette of me against the grist mill window. You're going to see that in part 4. I'm still editing part 2. Then I'm going to have to edit part 3. Part 4 was what I filmed the 4th time I visited. Every time I visited is an individual part. And I did document my trip, my travel, my 600 miles on my iPhone to a small extent, just showing the odometer on my car to show how many miles I drove, a little bit of the scenery, talking about things. I did have a conclusion. I talked for about 16 minutes on the way back on my thoughts on what happened. I really want a second human. Got to switch hands holding this. Arm's getting tired. I really need another human there at the 1830s house to witness it. Not only that, to make sure it's actually stuck at the location. I wouldn't mind driving 5 miles away while someone else is there, all the cameras rolling, and then drive back to see if anything happened. Although spirits, even though I know there are landlocked spirits, they're not really bound physically like humans are. As far as the loop theory of reoccurring events embedded in rock and replay any horrific, tragic event, I don't believe in that whatsoever. I'm not the typical ghost investigator. I don't believe in garbage, all right? I believe what I know, what I witness, what I record, what I document on a more scientific level than other ghost investigators. Because most ghost investigators will say, oh, look at that, that's creepy, man. Ooh, yeah, that's creepy. Probably the loop replay thing going on. Oh yeah, the loop replay. No, loop replay is invented by skeptics, atheists. Even though they don't believe in the loop replay, it's a lot less scary than intelligent, conscious, sentient beings from a higher dimension walking around, seeing them as they take a shower and stuff like that. To an atheist, it's a lot less scary if it's just a loop replay. Every single time I went to the 1830s grist mill, it was an intelligent response by an intelligent spirit. Never a loop replay, ever. I'm not convinced loop replays exist. The loop replay cop-out is kind of like the PK, psychokinesis cop-out, false, bogus explanation of poltergeist activity from my personal perspective, because I've only witnessed intelligent poltergeist activity. Intelligent from the perspective of reacting to me being there, reacting to me existing in that space, reacting to me telling it to leave. Never have I experienced any random psychokinesis, random loop replays. So I've never experienced loop replays of any spirits, ghosts in a loop. I've never experienced mindless ghosts mindlessly doing stuff. Although the poltergeist activity may have appeared mindless to an extent, but it wasn't. It was all calculated. These entities are more calculated than we can even imagine. Speaking of calculated, I don't know the mindset of the spirit at the 1830s grist mill. I can only vaguely come up with a human rationalization of how a spirit is thinking, their mindset, what's going through their spirit brain, if you will. They definitely have the faculties to think, rationalize, consider, and react intelligently. Was I like a lab rat to the spirit? The spirit's definitely not a lab rat to me. I consider it something that I have to respect before it even bothers to make its presence known. But I can see it looking down on me as being, there's a lowly human. I'll toy with this lowly human. Or perhaps in some bizarre universe, it sees me as, oh, yeah, there's a human that is worthy of me revealing itself to them because of this, this, or this. Being humble, being lowly, to the point of opening up everything, trudging out in the middle of the night 4 separate months, 4 separate occasions, spaced across a year. It was the 1-year anniversary, off by a day, really. But he was still the 18th. I got there at around 11 p.m. I left at around 12:17 a.m. It was about a 1 hour, 17-minute investigation, although walking there probably took 15 minutes, so maybe 1 hour and 30-minute total if you want to count all that. But I looked at the recorders and it said 1 hour and 17 minutes. I'm going to go through the recorders. Got to switch arms. It's really, really cold. There's an owl cooing in the distance. And I'm back. We need a second person to witness what I witnessed. What I've witnessed time and time and time again. For scientific reasons. I'm a fan of science. I love science. I understand most mainstream science believers, mainstream science lovers, dismiss the existence of spirits. That's because, quite frankly, I can bluntly state they've never walked to an 1830s grist mill in the middle of the night with night vision cameras, with static meters, because they've been told their whole lives, oh, that's fake, man. That's fake. When you were told your whole life something is fake, of course you're not going to be compelled to want to do it. Investigate it. Look for it. Find evidence of it. Likewise, those that have been told their whole life that spirits exist, they're almost equally in a complacent mode of, I don't need to prove nothing. I already know. I don't need to prove nothing. So the haunting of 2011 that happened to me really is my main motivation. The haunting of 2011 of the poltergeist, the 2 poltergeist demons. That's my main motivation for proving spirits exist. I've already captured tons of evidence. I would like a second person to witness this, a third person, a fourth person. It would be scientifically validating, although I don't need it, but I can understand someone looking at this from a third person perspective after I'm dead. Perhaps they'll write about it. I would want them to see that I at least made an effort to get other human beings to validate and verify what I've already witnessed. My footage is real. It's all real. It's the real deal. If you think it's not real, you're on the wrong channel. You're on the wrong place. There's a lot of fake stuff online. Don't believe what you see would be a very wise thing. As far as this channel, this is the real deal. It's the real stuff. I'm an authentic spirit communicator, investigator, but I don't want to be. You know what I'm saying? I have to be. When I was poltergeist harassed in 2011, I moved into a poltergeist haunted room. In my perspective, from my opinion, only a complete moron and only a complete idiot would walk away from that saying, An intelligent person would be like, you know what? Other people should know about this. Other people should know. It's an attempt to better the world's understanding. We're in an enlightened age, supposedly, but it's an age of spiritual idiocy. It's an age of people that lack spirituality, don't even know what the word spiritual means. The people that have spirituality on the title of an article or video. And if I watch that and I see that they don't believe in spirits, then in my perspective, they don't believe in spirituality. They don't have any spirituality. I hate to be so harsh, but spirituality and the belief in spirits go hand in hand. Actual, authentic spirituality, not the fake, vapid, trendy, hipster kind, but the real kind. If you don't believe in spirits, in my personal perspective, your spirituality is shriveled. is dying is basically dead. Spirituality to me is 50% of life. So I die hard believe in, sure, the physical world. I die hard believe in, walking on this physical planet, and you gotta get a job, you gotta save up, follow your goals. One of my goals is to prove spirits exist on a level beyond anyone. Stay tuned. I understand even $100,000 worth of equipment wouldn't be enough. See? Even $1 million worth of equipment wouldn't be enough. But I still want to get a better camera. This camera is not very good. So I didn't get the worst camera on purpose. I got the worst camera out of just wanting a second angle of myself at the window, so people could see there aren't strings behind me. The spirit at the 1830s grist mill manifests at the window more than any other place other than the corner. I did take some equipment over to the corner. I didn't get much of anything. Matter of fact, the grass has regrown. It's all wet. The grass was wet. It wasn't dead. It was alive and regrown. And it had rained the night before. There was water flowing in the stream in the little wooded area. There was mud on the ground. The neighbors turned on the lights, perhaps. Oh no, that's the moon. Okay, the big moon, full moon is coming out. I did ask the spirit, does the supermoon affect you? You're going to see what I recorded. Stay tuned, more episodes coming soon. I'm John Razimus. Be seeing you.